when I see a Jalin Turner, who is what some people would call a weight bully, right? You're not a 155er. Realistically, you should fight at 170. You don't take short notice fights because of how treacherous it is to cut that weight. And you're fighting an experienced dude like Bobby Green. AJ, I have to preface by saying, to me, in all avenues of this matchup, stay away betting wise. You can't bet this fight. And the reason you can't bet this fight is because there's too many unknowns. MMA is already a sport of unknowns, but this, we don't know what's going on. Do you feel the same, or do you feel confident in one party in this matchup?
I don't, Derek. I don't. That's what's crazy about this card is when in my mind there was a lot of fights that I'm just so unsure of. Even in the prop bets, this is a very interesting card, and in fact, this is a very interesting fight because of the way Jalin Turner's gonna get down to weight. Will he in his previous fights? I mean, he's been shown to be a little wear the damage not as well. There's a better phrasing out there, but that's what he looks like, man. He gets hit and he wears it not well. He looks like he's reacting to it. And if Bobby Green's going to have that shit talk and the pressure, he's going to be walking you down, beating you up. And Jalin Turner with a very rough weight cut in a very short notice time doesn't already wear the damage well. It's going to be a bad optic for the judges. My question, though, is Bobby Green able to have that classic performance? Is he able to get inside the range to actually do the damage? Or does Jalin Turner just spam front kicks all day long because he knows he's hurting from that weight cut?
Well, that's what I was going to say, man. 3-inch height advantage, 3.5-inch reach advantage for Jalin Turner, right? So Bobby Green, slickster, you love the style. Is that the right style to fight a taller, longer opponent? Not quite. Hands down isn't what you want against the guy that could hit you where you can't hit him back, which is the Bobby Green special, right? So I do think that Bobby Green, though, is going to take advantage of one thing that you just noted, man. If you're Bobby Green and you saw Jalin Turner's interview and you're like, man, first let's talk about that. Like, he looked rough, bro. Did you catch the interview?
I did, bro. He looked rough.
So quiet, the dude in the back, I ain't eating forever. I ain't got no energy. I'm just here to fight. Kind of allegations of I was more or less forced to take the fight. This is what he said. He said, listen, I felt like I didn't have a choice to take this fight. People took that line. They ran with it and said he was forced. The company is forcing him. They're going to cut him if he doesn't go. Nobody knows that, man. That's the reality of this. Nobody knows that. But one thing that they do know, AJ, is that Jalin Turner is in a position right now where if a Bobby Green is taking the front kicks to the body and hammering the body shots and beating up the breadbasket because he's a headhunter, but I mean, the body, you know what I mean? That don't move as much as the head. I think that he can have another one of those, oh my God, Bobby Green just did it moments. Like, I think that he can do it, AJ. This is like real. Do you think this is real?
Absolutely. And what scares me about this fight, Derek, Bobby Green only needs one moment, literally one moment where the tide turns just a second and he's all over you. He is on that ass, just going full speed. It's crazy to see what Bobby Green can do with just a split second. A lot of times fighters, they have to see the moment incur and, see things kind of get repeated in tendencies. Bobby Green acts, bro. Bobby Green takes advantage of what he sees and gets the fight going. That's what scares me about this, especially because he does hit you with power. He doesn't look like he's throwing big bombs, but those 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth one comes over the top. That's the one that hurts you. And like you said, Bobby Green's getting very technical, throwing stuff to the body, throwing stuff to the head. He's good. I don't know, man. Like you said, Derek, stay away from this one because there's so many unknowns that it's hard to get a cognitive thought out about it.
Now, but the reality is, right, like we're in a position where we can't really stay away. We kind of just got to go roll with the pick and say, all right, what's it going to be? So in our situation right here, like both of us are favoring Jalin Turner in this matchup. We need to discuss why we're favoring Jalin Turner. Now, I feel like if this Bobby Green didn't have that spectacular performance against Grant Dawson, like maybe we wouldn't be having this conversation as much. So recency bias. But Jalin Turner, he's taller, he's longer, has more tools in his toolbox. Very effective when he's a downhill fighter, can submit you, can take you down. I mean, he has all of the weapons it takes to beat a Bobby Green with that slickster style, given that Bobby Green can switch stances, backwards, forwards, doesn't really matter. But do you think that Bobby Green performs better in one avenue? Like if he's dictating the pace, do you think he performs better versus when he's on the back foot and just countering your shots?
That's an interesting question, Derek, because off the top of my head, I thought, when Bobby Green is that downhill pressure, when he's talking shit, he's in your face, hands down, but also still throwing punches, looking good, moving good. I think instantly that's his better option. But also at the same time, we've seen Bobby Green shell up, move around, and then actually hurt you and do some damage and then be able to control the fight that way. I'm still going with the downhill pressure, but I'm actually curious to see what you think. How does he fare if Jalin Turner is the one fighting on that downhill pressure?
Well, that's what we learned, right? We learned in the last fight, right, with Jalin Turner, is that if he's on his back foot for too long, things start getting real sketchy for him. He is a monster when he can dictate the pace, and oftentimes he can dictate the pace because he's the longer, taller, bigger fighter. He's going to have that big advantage against Bobby Green, man. I just think that this is another one where it's very tough. So let's just talk about the money making here. Plus 465 TKO for Bobby Green. Do you like that?
Woo! I like to throw like a quick $10 on.
So a quick $10. I mean, that's something right there. If you like the play, that means that Bobby Green is going to be able to finish what we assume is a compromised Jalin Turner. But if we're looking at the record, Bobby Green, 11 knockouts, 9 submissions. Like, we're talking about him like he can't submit somebody. He just had a couple nice submission victories. But the reality is, as of recent history, this dude's been in the company forever. It's decisions. That's the name of the game. So if it's going to come down to a decision, that means he wasn't able to kind of do what he needed to do to get Jalin Turner out of there. I don't see that being the reality necessarily, unless Turner, all of this is hype. All of this nonsense that we're talking about is just speculation and hype. And he's like, dude, I'm just a big dude who had to cut weight. I don't want to talk much on my presser. I'm still going to come here and start wrecking things. So are we overthinking this in the eyes of like a money-making perspective?
In the eyes of a money-making perspective, Derek, I don't think so, because that's still cut, that weight cut, that not wanting to do press, the not having enough energy to get out a good quality interview is goes down a lot, especially because when you're having to cut that weight, you can only cut so much off before it starts to come from the liver, before it starts to come from your organs, those muscle tissues, everything's getting depleted. Bobby Green lands a good left hook to your liver, man, and it hurts. You're going down, you're compromised. Are you in your right head? You start taking some water from there as well. There's a whole list of it. And that's what makes it a little curious. Cause right. Like if you said, if Bobby Green or if Jalin Turner wasn't on the weight cut, in the timing ways, he'd be Jalin Turner all day long for me. No disrespect to Bobby Green, but he still is that guy that can get it done with just a split second in the change of momentum.
Yeah, you're right about that, man. And this is all I'm saying right here. Let's just take like a quick look, right, at the Bobby Green. 31-14-1, man. This is all I wanted to point out to you. You look at all of these numbers. These are fantastic. Look here. This is the UFC. 12-9-1 in the UFC. How many times has he been knocked out? 3 knockout losses, 3 knockout victories right here. If you just look, though, look at the recent span. Drew Dober, yeah, he got caught. It was what it was, right? But that's like, whoa, what happened? Makhachev, did he get knocked out? Not really. That was the ground and pound finish. It was a TKO, right? I'm talking about purely weren't striking. You got clipped and you got put out. Aside from that Drew Dober fight, man, you just don't really see it. You know what I'm saying? So you look through Bobby Green, a lot of losses, a lot of red right here. But that's what's crazy, man, is look, he's a ranked fighter, bro. All it took is 2 wins. 2 wins. My man got ranked. So I don't know, man. This is a tricky one, but we said all of this ultimately to say from a betting perspective, you should probably stay away. If you're being forced to throw money on this one, we ride with Jalin Turner. I don't feel good about it, though, due to all of the weight stuff, man. A healthy, full camp Jalin Turner, smash spot. I don't quite see that in this one. So do you got anything else on this one?
I couldn't have said it any better, Derek.
All right. Well, with that being said, that is your co-main event. Your short notice, nonetheless, but that is your co-main event.